Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video what I want to do is talk about how to render templates. So one thing you can do is create an API that sends JSON data, and generally if you can generate a dictionary with the data you want to send, then you can send it as JSON. Okay, pretty straightforward. So there's a couple different ways you can go. There are some functions built into Flask for what's called serializing. So it's not like JavaScript where basically if you just send a JavaScript object, it just turns into a JavaScript object notation like that. You have to kind of make things in a format where it knows how to create the JSON string. Now for dictionaries, it just knows how to do that right away, so it's pretty straightforward with dictionaries. But for like your custom objects, you would need to do what's called a serializer, and I'll refer you to the documentation. There's different ways of doing that. An approach that I often take is I'll create a toDict method on my objects, so that way I can just convert them into a dictionary when I need to. It just saves me a lot of the trouble. Cool. Now let's talk about rendering templates. So that means, like, what if you, instead of sending like JSON data, you want to send like HTML? You would like to send a web page. Okay, well, what you can do is first let's just show you how you can send a string. So let's say here, instead here we're going to return. Okay, so I'm going to need to grab another function, render. Let's do render template string and render template. I'm going to use both of those. First, we'll just render a template string. So we do render template string. Generally, you probably won't use this one. Okay, but basically what you're doing is you're just going to say, hey, I want you to render this string, h1. Okay. And we're going to say we're going to inject a variable. And I think it's double curly brackets if I remember correctly with Jinja. Jinja is the templating language that's typically used in Python. So actually, no, it's yeah. It is double curly brackets. Okay. So double curly brackets, and then we can put a variable in there. So I'll say bread. So that's the argument. The first argument is the template string, the string that's going to be turned into HTML output. And then the second is going to be context, which is just like the variables you want available. So I'm going to say, hey, I want bread, a variable called bread, to be available. And that variable should be worth rye. Okay, that'll be the value of that variable. Anything in this dictionary that's passed in as a second argument is made available to this template. Okay, and essentially that's how that's going to work. Okay, so then we hit save. Well, actually, let me turn on the server. Okay, now if I go to param cheese here, oh, render template string takes one position argument, but two were given. Okay, let's see here. If I do context equals, there we go. Okay. Nope, still doesn't like it. Okay, back to the docs. Render template. I'll go to render template string right below it. Okay. Okay, the source code of the template to be rendered. Context. I have a feeling that it wants me to do this. Context.bread. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? Oops, wrong tab. Yep, that's what I wanted. Okay, yeah, so basically it gets passed into the string as a object called context, and then I can pull stuff from there. Okay, but you can see I can create like dynamic HTML. Now this is okay, but you're not going to write like pages worth of HTML here. Okay, so this is not necessarily like the way you want to do things. So what you can do is you create a folder called templates. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it's templates. Okay, yep, it's in the templates directory. Okay, because you'll see templates. Okay, so let's create a folder called templates, and then we're going to create a template. So we'll just say a new file. Let's see, this one we need to give it a particular extension. I think they're just going to be HTML. Nope, too far. Just gonna see an example. Yes, cider.html. So we just use the HTML. New file. So we'll just say cheese.html. Okay. And then here we're going to do h1. First, just do hello world. Just make sure that it renders. Let's go to server.py, and then we're going to change this to template string. Okay. Okay. String list. Yep. Okay. So first we pass in the address, cheese.html. That's the template. And then we're going to say cheese.html. I want to render that. And then what I want to do is pass in some context. So again, I need to use the context equals dictionary. And we'll say cheese equals Gouda. Okay. And then technically what I can do here is I can also do context.cheese. Okay. So now if I do this, let's refresh. Oh, was the server off? I think the server's off. Yep. There we go. And there we go. Hello world Gouda. Okay, and you can basically just do that and kind of interject whatever you want in the HTML file. Now, there are certain like interactivities you can't make, stuff that's going to happen after the page loads. So this is where like libraries like HTMX and Alpine become super useful to be able to create that front-end reactivity while using these server-side templates. So I'd recommend watching my videos on Alpine and HTMX to kind of see how you could use that in here. But essentially, that's how you use templates. There's a lot of different cool syntax you can use with templates. You just look up Jinja. Again, Jinja is the templating language. Okay, and you can do also the cool things like, for example, you can define a layout. So like, for example, like this looks like a full HTML file. And notice here it creates a block called header. Okay, so now what I can do is in other HTML files, I can say, hey, this extends base.html, which is this file, and say, hey, it's technically, I'm in here. And then you can say, okay, this is going to go inside that block, and then this will go inside this block. And what it does, it injects that HTML in this block, so that way you can keep using this layout over and over again. Okay, and so anything that's like sort of Python-y in syntax is going to generally be in these like curly bracket percentage type symbols. So you can do like if statements, anything you can do basically in Python-ish. Okay, but you see you have some syntax. So you're like if, else, and if. Okay, and then there's also loops. So you can like here you can loop. So for message in, then you loop over that, and you can just generate like many of these. That's the basic idea. Again, you can play with this. If you've used like EJS, handlebars, Pug, you know, embeddable Ruby templates, you kind of get the idea of one templating language is generally going to be the same as the others. There's going to be a way for you to loop over things, for you to do conditional rendering of things, etc. Or if you use PHP, you've kind of probably gotten the idea as well. But that's how you would do that in Flask. So this gives you a basic introduction on how to use Flask over these 3 videos. I'll let you explore to go deeper and do more fun things, like play with it and try like doing different reroutes and creating different pages. But that's the basic idea. So I'll see you all later. We'll probably do another video series on whatever the next topic will be, which you'll see when it gets released. So again, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, so that way it gets all the views, and join the Slack and Discord communities over there at devnursery.com. Have a great day and enjoy.